I have decided to change my vote in the care referendum from a yes to a no, and I want to explain why. I called for a yes vote originally because I wanted to remove sexist language from the Constitution. I saw the religious right and the far right mobilising for a no, and I did not want to give any class of a boost to those forces. I criticised the wording for merely striving to support care rather than guaranteeing it. I also criticised the wording for merely making reference to support for care in the home, but staying silent on the question of state support for care outside of it. However, in the course of this referendum, something has changed. And I think what has changed is very, very significant. Angered by the government's failure to go beyond strive and to make mention of support outside of the family, opposition to the amendment began to develop among people with disabilities and carers. People who had faced years and years of state neglect, who had had to fight tooth and nail for every small thing, decided to draw a line in the sand and put the issue of their rights onto the agenda. By the end of last week, this opposition had grown to a point that I think it would be fair to describe it as a rebellion within those communities against this amendment. I think if the amendment is now defeated by the momentum generated by this revolt, the rejection will have a forward-looking character rather than a backward-looking one. Generally speaking, I do not care much for people who change their mind as often as they change their clothes. I am not by instinct a flip-flopper. However, I believe that a good public representative needs to have not just a mouth on them, but a good pair of ears, needs to be able to listen. And after listening to disabled people and to many carers, myself and my colleague Ruth Coppinger decided to join their call for a no vote in the care referendum. I pledge that if the care referendum is defeated, I will work with disabled people, carers and others for a new referendum, not just to delete sexist language, but also to put into the Constitution an amendment along the lines proposed by the Citizen Assembly and rejected by the Government. And I'll conclude by reminding this House what the Citizen Assembly called for. The State recognises that care within and outside the home and family gives to the State a support without which the common good cannot be achieved. The State shall therefore take reasonable measures to support care within and outside the home and family. So I would say, vote yes on the family referendum and no to this care referendum.